Hello, my friends. Welcome back on the show. So today we're talking about the final advice that will solve all the problems with your staff. You ready? I am coaching on this topic every single week, and I'm realizing that people are really overcomplicating this. Managing your staff is very simple. But I think the missing piece that most of you folks are not focusing on is you. We are not focusing on, and I'm going to speak more to this, but we're in a nutshell, you're not focusing on your attitude towards your team, towards your practice. You're not managing your perfectionism, and that bleeds into your leadership style. So many of you are coming into me and have issues delegating or micromanaging or how to hold people accountable. Listen, managing staff issues is very simple. Are you expecting them to read your mind, or have you written everything down on a piece of paper? There's so many practice consultants and softwares that will help you do that. You have to have very clear job descriptions and expectations from them. You have to teach them how to prioritize their tasks, or you need to prioritize it for them. Give them a list if they're new. But you cannot expect people to come into your practice and solve your problems. That's a recipe for disaster. All right? You have to be extremely transparent and think for yourself, over-communicate what you want from your staff. If you over-communicate, there will be just enough communication for them, the way they receive it. So if you are very detailed what you want them to do, and you update that document, that's the first piece. And then the second piece, you hold them accountable. Yeah. You check in with them. How often, Jana, do I check in? Well, it depends. Do you have a new hire? Do you have an existing hire? Do you have an existing hire that started suddenly underperforming? The frequency adjusts depending on the number of mistakes they're making. Okay, could be weekly meetings, could be daily check-ins, could be monthly meetings. At a bare minimum, I want you to have monthly office meetings and morning huddles, at least a couple of times a week. It's a bare minimum. But then on a one-on-one level, you want to check in with people and you want to hold them accountable, meaning you're going to have conversations. Hey, Sally, I've seen you didn't do X, Y, Z. Tell me what happened. Tell me how I can help you. And then you help them change that. Now, people say, well, but what about human error? Totally, I'm there with you. 90-10 rule. If 90% of the time your staff does what you want them to do, and 10% they don't, you have a great running practice. Congratulations. Yeah, there's always going to be a human error. And if you are still not able to delegate effectively, if you still are afraid to trust your staff if they're doing things correctly 90% of the time, this podcast is for you. You, my friend, have issues with your staff because you need to work on your own attitude, on your mindset, on your need to control things, on your perfectionism. When you work on yourself, you work on your business. When you grow yourself, you grow your practice. I want you to hear this. I see so many people hang up on the small details that have nothing to do with the clear-cut way you create a successful team, which is, like I said, these two steps. You have to very clearly communicate to them, preferably in the written form, what you expect them to do, including their behavioral expectations, how you want them to look, how you want them to show up, what do you want them to do. Very specifically, how fast do you want them to change the wire? In 20 minutes? Amazing. Tell them. They have to know. That's step number one. And step number two is you have to hold them accountable. You have to have meetings. You can't just follow up for a couple of weeks and then you feel uncomfortable or you get busy or you feel resentful or you feel frustrated. Do you hear me? This is why you need to work on your own attitude. Your opinion about managing other people is what's going to determine the success or failure of your team. Your opinion about what it means to be a great leader and the kind of leader you want to be is what's going to make it or break it. I don't even know the word. I'm just so amazed how many of you guys, you're so talented. You are so hardworking and you're so dedicated. And so many folks miss this component. They think, yeah, whatever. I don't need to. What do you mean my attitude? My attitude is good. It's hard for everyone. I'm busy. It's stressful. My friend, all these sentences are creating a certain attitude when you show up at work, and your staff can sense it. They can feel it. And you can't fake this stuff. People can tell that you're faking. That's not going to be authentic interactions. So you got to clean that up. You got to clean up your thoughts about having difficult conversations with them, about holding them accountable, about them making mistakes. They're supposed to make mistakes. If they're learning something new, they're going to make mistakes. That's just a normal part of it. But Jonna, we're talking about money. The wrong check was deposited. I know. Welcome to practice ownership. Mistakes are going to happen. You were not perfect when you learned in dentistry either. And so do I now just let them be? 90-10 rule. Are you there walking them every step of the way? Or maybe your office manager does. And do you see improvement? Amazing. You don't see improvement? They're not a good fit. We need somebody else. In today's economy, there's plenty of fish in the sea. I was going to say in the ocean. See, my friend? But unless you work on your own mind and your own attitude towards your staff, towards your business, towards the stress of running a business, you are never going to be able to effectively delegate, effectively hold people accountable, stop micromanaging, and then you will always end up being your own bottleneck. I see so many practice owners are their own bottlenecks. They are not allowing their practices to grow because they are the person that has to double check everything and has to be there. No, you don't. You have to learn to build a strong team. You cannot run a successful dental practice alone. You're going to burn out. And you have to learn to have these conversations with people and have really great thoughts about having these conversations. Find a coach, find a community, find a mentor, but find somebody that's going to help you clean that stuff up, because it's very important how you're showing up for yourself and for them. And I just see that so many doctors are missing this piece. They think it's just, I think you guys don't even realize this. Like, it's a nuance. It's not a nuance. The devil is in the details. This is everything. That's why these expensive practice consultants are coming and setting all the protocols and systems. And maybe they're even checking in and they're, doing the maintenance. But you're still latched on. You still can't let go because you're thinking, well, but it's going to come and bite me and I'm the one responsible. Okay, yes, you are the one responsible. That's good news. That means that you have the power to change things. If somebody's underperforming, my friend, they're not a good fit. And when I mean underperforming, that means they're making more than 10% mistakes. If they're making less than 10% mistakes, please talk to me or talk to somebody. We got to clean up your expectations. We got to clean up your perfectionism. Your perfectionism is stopping you from growing and going bigger. I'm helping more patients, making more money, creating more jobs, doing what you could do for your family and for people around you. All right. Your fear of failure, your fear of judgment and what other things will think about you, what other people will think about you, is holding you in this perfectionism where you latched on to your staff. We gotta clean that up. All right, my friend. So when you work on yourself, on your own attitude, on your own growth, on your own qualities as an effective leader of a business, you're going to solve all your staff problems. I promise you. And 10%, it's just human error. It's totally fine. So once again, it's very simple to have an excellent team. Make sure that all your expectations out of them are clearly communicated. And then the second part, you hold them accountable. How do you communicate expectations? You write them down in a form of job descriptions or daily tasks or priority check-ins. Some of my clients check in with their office manager, for example, on Monday, and then exchange their lists for the week. These are my priorities for this week. These are my priorities for this week. The doctor gives the office manager gives to the doctor. Amazing. We're all on the same page. And maybe office manager has scheduled computer maintenance on a Thursday at 3 p.m. when you're the busiest. But she tells you this on Monday, so you can say, you know what, let's do that on that day. Can we please do this on a clinical day? Thank you. Yeah, instead of pulling your hair, oh my gosh, why did she schedule it? Why she doesn't understand? She's not taking accountability. Doesn't care. You don't want to think like this about your office manager, right? It's going to make it really hard to work with her. Instead, let's just be extremely transparent about our expectations from them and about the priorities and the goals. Like everything is very clearly outlined, and not just once, but weekly, monthly, right? It's like your relationship with your significant other, right? You guys see each other like at least daily, right? And you kind of like check in like, hey, what's going on? Right, you got to keep a pulse on each other, especially you as a practice owner. So that's one piece, very clear what you want out of them. And then the second piece, you hold them accountable, right? You check in, you say, hey, what happened? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you check in this patient? Why didn't you attach the codes? Why didn't you follow up with them? How come they left without an appointment? Help me understand. Drop into curiosity, not judgment. But that's your attitude. You gotta clean up what's going on in your head when you think about managing your staff and when you think about running your practice. When you clean that up and you're coming to your office with very good attitude, feeling confident, feeling positive, knowing that you're committed to this practice, this is in the long run, and it's going to work, and you're seeing the bigger picture, you're communicating to your team, you are going to have a successful team, guaranteed. All right, my friends, that was a surety. I hope that was very helpful. I will see you next week. Bye.